Menina ine, it's your boy Neboy, and today we're going to expose the Clinton News Network with ease and quick Google searches. But first, let's review their mission statement and see how far they just went past that, how they just don't even follow it anymore. Their mission statement says, and I quote, "Our mission is to create the most possible news product and to present heartbreaking national and international news as it unfolds. We delivered unparalleled perspectives across multiple categories, including political, medical, financial, technology, and entertainment, and more." Though CNN wasn't always known for its fake news network, it was once reliable, or at the very least, not as extremely biased as it is. In 2010, they had a segment saying, "Men and women are different." Roll the clip.
I don't even think we're becoming women. I think we're becoming one. I think it's like an X, and somewhere, whenever they filmed Mad Men, we were at the bottom of one side of the X, and you guys were at the bottom of the other, and we're heading toward this.
You think this is a dangerous thing to be avoided? You're trying to stand up there and swing away this trend.
I think there's a reason why we're different, and it's mostly about the kids. I mean, it's mostly about saying, here's dad and here's mom, not here's blah, and here's blah. You know, mom's got the six-pack abs and the dad's staying home. And yeah.
Okay, so you know that when kids come out of the chute, they are different. For the most part, they're very, very different, right?
Absolutely. I have
but
twins.
we try to make them the same. What's up with
twins?
that?
And not
boys,
only
girls?
I have a boy and a girl, and they're wildly different, and it's the same deal. It's the same thing. I sort of grew up on a steady diet from the 70s of all this crap where, well, it's all society and the man, and if you give a little boy a dolly, he'll love that dolly just like he'll love his truck.
No.
BS. BS. These people should all be run down and sued,
but you're winning
by
this
the way.
debate now, right? I mean, you're winning. I think there's a real pushback, and people are buying your
How can you argue with it? It's so true. You have,
all right, look.
You have kids.
I
you
gave
can
my
tell.
son a doll. I was one of those people.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did. I gave him a doll because I wanted him to be.
For real?
I grew up at the same time you did. I did, but he started ripping the arms
Look, I
off.
met him. He recovered.
Oh, my God.
No, I recovered quickly because then I said,
well,
"What am
we're
I
not so
doing?
sure
This
about
is
that.
ridiculous."
With that, we don't know about.
No, and girls. I mean, girls will sit and watch things and talk and chit chat. You know, they like to do that. You know,
Yes.
they like to build.
We're very different. We're different in it.
The difference from then and now is crazy. You will see in a sec from the videos I'm about to show you, but they treat men and women like they're the same. I mean, they're different. They're fundamentally different, and they're laughing at the crazy people who actually believe that they are the same. They're agreeing with Adam Carolla, which is an example of testimonial. The only one piece of propaganda tactic that they use in the entire video. Nowadays, you can name basically everything, all the propaganda techniques that we have learned. One video, you just go down the list and you identify all of them. But they treat it they're different, they're actually different groups of people. But now they treat it it's the same. It's so weird. But now we're just gonna roll the next clip. The next clip can basically just explain itself. We already seen it, we already watched it, but you know, CNN is promoting it, so it counts. I don't even care. I don't care. It counts.
The more I've spoken about feminism, the more I have realized that fighting for women's rights has too often become synonymous with man-hating. If there is one thing I know for certain, it is that this has to stop.
Okay, wow. Not even 20 seconds in, and we got two propaganda techniques. See, in the last clip, it was about a minute long, and we had one technique, but we got a testimonial. We got testimonial showing Emma Watson, who wasn't even relevant to Harry Potter. Go away, just go away, just go away. No one cares. And she used glittering generality, saying men hating and feminism has become synonymous. No, you're just wrong. We hate third wave feminism. It has nothing to do with the first and second wave. They're good. We're cool with them. They actually had a purpose. They actually had reasons to exist. There's a new one. Why? Why do we even need another one? This one sucks. This one's horrible. This one doesn't even do anything for anyone. Why? It's just trash. You don't even have a reason to exist. I know. Not like everyone identifies with feminism, like she like brings it up in a minute, but still, like who believes this? Who, like, no sane person would be like, yeah, feminism is man-hating. No, that's not what anyone thinks. It's
questioning gender-based assumptions a long time ago. When I was 8, I was confused being called bossy because I wanted to direct the plays that we would put on for our parents, but the boys were not. When at 14, I started to be sexualized by certain elements of the media. When at 15, my girlfriends started dropping out of their beloved sports teams because they didn't want to appear muscly. When at 18, my male friends were unable to express their feelings. I decided that I was a feminist, and this seemed uncomplicated to me. But my recent research has shown me that feminism has become an unpopular word. Women are choosing not to identify as feminist. Why has the word become such an uncomfortable one? I am from Britain, and I think it is right that I am paid the same as my male counterparts. I think it is right that I should be able to make decisions about my own body. I think it is right that women be involved on my behalf in the policies and the decisions that will affect my life.
Get your head down and keep moving! Daniel, on me!
Guys, we are here. We're finally here. We've arrived at a little town, just a little small town in Nowhereland. A little town called Retardville. She uses hyperbole and exaggerates women's issues, and kinda uses fancy figures to make a total of 6 propaganda techniques. Six propaganda techniques. What is even happening right now? It's like I feel like I'm in North Korea right now. What is even going on? Like, all right. Let me just focus. The 77 cents to the dollar, which has been debunked so many times, no serious economist takes this seriously, has been debunked so many times. I'm just not even gonna bother. Like, I'm not even just know. Like, you just look it up and just see why it's just wrong on so many levels. Why it's just inaccurate as representation of how much men and women make. But that's whatever. It's whatever. But no one cares about what you do to your body. No one should stop you. No one should pass a law to stop you from doing what you want to do with your body. Now, she's definitely talking about abortion. This a reference to the whole problem with abortion. I'm not even gonna get to that because I'm not trying to make this video too long. But I'm gonna summarize it like this: aborting a child, a person, there's a living thing inside of you that is not part of you, just like a parasite is not part of you. That person is not you. So that does not mean you get to dictate on whether or not you can kill it. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not even gonna. It's not a tattoo. It'll be different if someone said, "Oh, you can't get a tattoo just cause." It's your body. You should be able to do whatever you want to your body. But aborting a baby is a completely different issue. And to your point of that we need more representation in politics of women, no, we don't. We don't need more women in politics just because they're women. If women want to go into politics, they go into politics. If people like them, they'll elect them. This is a democratic republic, not just a monarchy or something like that. Like oligarchy. Like what are you even trying to say right now? We elect people that we like. If more women started running, then and people like their views, they will get elected. You know, it's not that hard. This is not like rocket science. Like I don't understand why it's so hard for people to understand this. We elect who we like. Simple as that. Simple as that. Nope. Just want to make everything so like everything is just against them. Everything is bad. Everything is against them. There's more men in something. Oh, there has to be an equality. There just has to be like there's like no logical explanation. There's like no convincing these people. Like it's like in these people's mind, like in their world, men just have ultimate power over everything. It's like we're like just a bunch of kings, and we just be like off with your head. Oh, you get paid less. Doesn't matter. I don't care what you say. You're a woman. Go away. Like that's just not how society works nowadays. Like maybe in the 19th century, you would have had a point. Now, you can't. Not so much. But let's just move on to the next stupidity, next dumb clip of the CNN just going off the rails. Just next clip.
The women's football world says that has to change.
These women, they train just as hard as the men do. We inspire as many young players around the world as the men do, and so there's no reason why you need to have 100, 200 to 1 disparity in pay.
A lot of the women who are playing in the game right now are actually having to take on 2 or 3 jobs to help supplement that income. So it's a huge disadvantage for 1 to recruit the best players, 2 to actually retain them.
The best paid women's footballer is Marta Vieira da Silva of Brazil, who is reportedly making some $400,000 a year. That's double the reported salary of the next highest earners, Abby Wambach and Alex Morgan of the U.S.
With fewer layers of skin than your face?
None of this factors in endorsements. Nevertheless, pay remains a pittance compared to the stars of more established men's football. The highest paid men's player, Cristiano Ronaldo, earned an estimated $52 million last year, not including millions in endorsements. World Cup awards are unequal as well. $15 million will be handed out at the Women's World Cup, compared with $576 million in the Men's World Cup. In the U.S., the National Women's Soccer League argues that it's only been in business a few years and is still trying to find an audience. It says a TV deal could be reached soon, which could boost popularity and attendance. That could lead to higher salaries. Women's football superstar Brandi Chastain told Christiane Amanpour that she also believes change is coming.
We've grown in such a very short time, so if someone was forward-thinking, they would get on the train right now and say, I'm going to make a big deal out of this because the rest of the world is finally coming around.
This clip, we got to see testimonial of Brandi Chastain. Keith Chastain. I don't even know who she is. That's how unpopular women's soccer is. It's probably why definitely the reason why you guys don't make enough money, because no one watches it. No one cares about women's soccer. I'm sorry, this is unfortunate, but that's just how it is. Like, no one likes watching it. It's just boring. At least compared to men's soccer, is just more interesting. You can't blame the viewers. Like, they even say it in the video. Like, they need more views, then they could help them pay more. That's how they create revenue. When people go into the stadiums and they buy a ticket, to watch the games and stuff, that money is going into the stadiums. I mean, some of it, goes to athletes, some of it goes to the organization, but most of it goes to the stadium owner. They get most of their revenue by people who watch their shows. Like, I just don't understand. I don't know how they just don't understand. Like, get that. And they even use false figures. Well, not like false, like they're not wrong. They just don't mean anything. They have no substance. They're not they don't prove any point. Like, men get paid more because people like to watch it, and women get paid less because not that as many people like to watch it. It's just simple basic economics. Like, any person with more than 2 brain cells will understand this. But I guess not them. It's whatever.
this father of four's tweet who says, "What do you tell a 12-year-old girl who doesn't want to see a penis in the locker room?" The CNN host responded, "I wonder if she is the problem, or her overprotective and intolerant dad. Teach tolerance," he said. And this is when I got involved in the conversation, alerting everyone that CNN host Chris Cuomo says that girls are, quote, intolerant for not wanting to see men's penises in girls' locker rooms. I then issued a clarification that he was talking about 12-year-old girls when I said correction. Chris Cuomo said 12-year-old girls are the, quote, problem for not wanting people with penises in girls' locker rooms. You sick man. He then responded, "Find me the cases that show the spike, the real risk." Well, for starters, you could take a look at this list of the top 25 recent instances of pro-transgender bathroom policies being dangerous to women and children. I don't have time to go through all 25 of these recent crimes. He responds, "Don't use caps and insults, use facts." Well, I just pointed out some facts, so let me point out a few more. I said just read the replies to your original tweet and see how women feel about your insane statement. They're already feeling victimized. Let me just point out again the fact that there has been compilations of at least the top 25 recent instances of crimes being committed because of this issue. Because by allowing anyone to use any bathroom that they choose because they supposedly identify as that gender, you are saying that this 54-year-old father now identifies as a 6-year-old girl should be allowed to use the women's bathroom, and maybe Chris Cuomo should invite this guy over to play with his kids. This girl over. This little 6-year-old girl to come over and play with your daughter, Chris. And if society is going to consider this person who has a Y chromosome and a penis but puts a dress on and puts his hair in pigtails, if we're going to consider this person to be a girl, a woman, and allow it to shower and change in the girls' locker rooms and showers at the gym and at any school and any public facility and private facility, otherwise it's discrimination, then this opens up a bigger can of worms as I posted, what bathrooms will the other 29 legally recognized genders in New York use? Because in the state of New York, where Chris Cuomo lives, there are 31 different genders that are legally recognized.
Mark Dice literally said everything I wanted to say, but in his tweets, he uses, like in Chris Cuomo's tweets, he uses two propaganda techniques. He uses hyperbole and name calling. He's saying that the father is a racist and a bigot. I don't know why. And he tries to downplay the issue of trans bathrooms. Like, this is a pretty big issue, but he tries to downplay. It's like, oh, it's not a big issue. Oh, this and that. When as Mark Dice says, there's 25 recent issues of the top 25 recent issues of this, and one of these issues is way too many. This is just absurd. They try to say that gender. They try to say in this video that gender is a spectrum and that you can be anything you want. Like you see how absurd this is. Like it's a few years ago they were agreeing that men and women are different. That you can't just say, oh yeah, whatever you want. If I want to be this, I get to be this. No, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. But this is how they try to paint it. That that they're one and the same. You just go from back and forth. And Chris Cuomo, at least on CNN, he's usually the one who talks about gender issues. Like there's certain people who is on the payroll that talks about race issues. Some people talk about trans issues. Some talk about feminist issues. Chris Cuomo mostly talks about trans issues, and he is most loud spoken, at least from CNN, about it. But it's kind of aggravating how they just ignore the problems and the issues that come with it. But for this next clip, it's also a YouTuber's video. I can't really find good videos that shows propaganda and talk about gender at the same time from CNN, because they don't upload every single live video. Live broadcast that they do on TV. I can only find so many clips, so I had to take one from YouTubers. but I will give credit where credit's due. Now, this one is from Steven Crowder, from Louder with Crowder, and he is kind of doing what I'm doing for another Chris Cuomo video when he's having another debate about trans issues, about the trans not the trans bathroom, but it's about the kid from Texas who's like a trans woman or trans man. I don't even know how this works anymore. But he's a man who went from he went from woman to a guy. Yeah, so it's a trans woman, I think. And now he's just like dominating the Texas like wrestling championship. Like it gets like, and he just beats every single girl up. Like it's crazy how he just stomps them with like such ease, and he won 2 good medals. And Steven Crowder like literally sums up like everything I have to say like in a nutshell. Like I would chop us up like I did with Mark Dice, but he like kind of like the way he breaks it down at the end like accurately represents it. And I also like want you guys to see like the full CNN clip. So take it away, Steven.
Do the research as I have, you'll see that.
Yeah. I mean, it's like Gavin said, we're saying the exact same thing. It's like, it's only the amount required to make her like a boy so she can beat the shit out of girls. Like we're sitting there, yes. How does he miss that? How does he miss it? I don't understand. So again, he's talking about science here. He says, if you've done the research, right? So Chris Cuomo wants to talk about science. Well, let's look at the science. Let's look at the average testosterone levels for females. So a 17-year-old girl is somewhere around the 50 to 75 nanograms per deciliter. This is what they use. I know people will try and fact check me. We can talk about this or free testosterone. The ratios are going to be quite similar. So 50 milligrams per deciliter. The average boy at 17, if you look at here from the Mayo Clinic, can be 300 to 1200. And 300 would actually be very, very low, warranting supplementation. So the average, if you look there, you take the mean, will be somewhere around the 800 mark for a 17-year-old boy. That's when your testosterone levels are at their highest. So let's take that number, 50 nanograms per deciliter for a girl to 800 for a male. So the minimum required dose to bring that girl to the kind of hormonal profile that a male has would be low end 8 to 10, more like 12 to 15 times the amount. And for context, by the way, this is superhuman. When he says it's not superhuman, for competing against a girl, this is superhuman. Because when you look at when we talk about steroids and how much we complain, Barry Bonds, Mark McGuire, athletes in sports, they don't enjoy anywhere. We're talking about 12 to 15, 10 to 15 times the amount, a boy over a girl. Barry Bonds or these juiced to the gills Mr. Olympias, they might be in the top upper 1,000s, 2,000s, really, really high. We can see this might get you to the 3,000 nanogram per deciliter if you're looking at those strong men power lifters. And that's what we call super physiological dosage, meaning a dose that is above anything that a human could create. So the ratio for a man on steroids would be maybe 3 times, or say the multiple would be 3 times the amount of the average man on a really strong day. On an average day, the lowest possible dosage required to take little Mack-Braggs to the average boy level or lowest boy level would be a minimum of 8 times the hormone. Testosterone, responsible for not only bone density, cartilage, ligaments, muscle tissue, the way the rest of your hormones respond. Your hormones are a giant panel. Also brain tissue. We'll get into with the trans issue. Men have bigger brain.
Some may call these stats significant.
Some may call them medically significant. Some also may call them a statistical advantage.
The issue is acceptance. If this state allowed this kid to wrestle against boys, which is what he wants, we wouldn't be talking about this case right now.
It's now about acceptance.
Yeah.
See, it was about science. It was about science before. If you've done the research on science, now the issue is about acceptance. Well, okay, how about this? How about you, Chris Cuomo, accept the science? As we have this clip, I think we have it from Morning Grinders. I forgot to run that clip. Let's accept the science we did, as seen here by noted weakling Jared versus CrossFit super queen Courtney Scoffs. Roll clip.
Damn it!
Just imagine what you could do.
And people who share your idea are using misinformation and mythology here. The idea of if
it's
you
not
let
misinformation.
Well, of course it is, because the idea that they're going to have genitals waved in their face. My 12-year-old daughter, she's going to have genitals waved in her face.
Well, Usually this would be a straw man, except in the sport of wrestling, you can quite literally have genitals waved in your face.
I'm tapping out right there. I'm done.
He took a straw man and made it a real one. He just can't stop losing. Okay, anyway, so he goes on to this. He says, your technique about genitals in the face. So we've gone from science to acceptance to something about genitals in the face. Now Chris Cuomo goes on to debate with this strategy.
What happens when the girl identifies as a boy and wants to go to the boys' locker room or vice versa to play into the fear? And for you to say that there are none on the right who are making about what I'm saying is demonstrably false.
So we go from the science, if you've done the science, there's no way to debate with someone like this.
No.
And we believe in always trying to have an idea, a form of ideas, discussion of ideas. Absolutely, I don't believe you should ever absolve yourself of arguing ideas. No. But how can you argue, it was like with Michael Ian Black, right here, how can you argue this on a platform of ideas? If you've done the science research, as I've done the science research, okay, well, this is what the science says. It's not about science, it's about acceptance. What? Penises in your face. What? You can't say that not a single right-wing person has ever sent me a picture of a penis in a face. Donald Trump! Next clip.
Go to my Twitter feed, brother. They are putting pictures of my face on a guy exposing himself to a 12-year-old girl.
This is media. Go to my Twitter feed. No, you go to my Twitter feed. No, you go to my Twitter feed. My Twitter feed has penises. No, mine has more. Mine has more. People are putting penises all over my face.
That's a normal day on Jared's Twitter feed.
Therefore, I'm not fake news. Look at my Twitter feed, brother. And we did look at his Twitter feed. This is the tweet in question that someone sent to him. But by the way, non-gay Jared and I get worse on our lunch break.
That's true. It's so true.
That's a very, very tame Twitter slant. So again, it goes from science. So I hate to be repetitive here. Science to acceptance to balls on face to are you denying that any right-wing person has ever said anything transphobic to now look at my Twitter feed. And actually we had Jared do his research. You went on his Twitter feed even more. I mean, there's not a whole lot there to see. If you look at it, it's mostly tame. Okay, well, I see what can happen there. I could see why he could be perturbed.
I don't know how to do that.
This is why you're getting so personal, Chris.
That's a legit hack.
All right, here's his next argument.
You should let these kids be where they're most comfortable. This is about accommodation.
I thought it was about science.
No.
They don't want the kid to have what he wants, so they're forcing him to wrestle with girls. You don't want the kid to use the bathroom they want because you don't like it based on your tradition. I'm saying let the kids go where they want.
No. You see, this is the difference between leftist parenting and conservative parenting, right? You know, the left, well, the kid wants this, the kid wants... Chris Cuomo was the kind of guy who would have kids like, Dad, I want cotton candy, and I want a cookie, and I want, me. No. And Chris Cuomo was like, okay, let me see how I can accommodate that. My father, I'd be like, Dad, yeah, I want to use a ladies' room. No. You don't give kids everything that they want.
Abuse.
The abuse.
Transgender doesn't happen on a whim. It's a continuum of time and hormones and pain and anxiety. And I challenge you and everybody who's listening to go find me a case of indecent exposure by a transgender person in a bathroom. It doesn't happen.
It happens all the time. It happens. We've written about it at louderwithcrowder.com. It happens all the time. One happened in Target. There was the incident in Seattle. Actually, that guy was just gaming the system. He's kind of my hero. And by the way, it doesn't happen on women. It happens over time. The last season of Keeping Up with the Kardashians ended, and 4 months later, Bruce Jenner was Caitlyn. So let's be real here. It's not like this needs to happen over the course of years.
No.
It can happen really quickly. Certainly as far as we're used to, if you had a family member who over the course of the summer, or your kid, your friends, you go to summer camp, you have some friends you only see in school, you don't necessarily see them over the summer, and you come back and it's like, oh, Charles, oh, okay, you're a woman now. All right.
It took me longer to get my CDL.
To get your carry permit. It takes longer. It takes longer to get a revolver in New Jersey than it does to change your sex on your driver's license. I think we have one last clip, right?
And if you look at the data, the only thing that you accomplish by doing what you say is traditional is that you scar these kids as an other, and their rates of depression and suicide and non-acceptance go up.
And that last conclusion is so perfect of everything that's happened here. It was about science, and then it was about comfort, and then it was about accept. Right here he goes, the rates of depression, the rates of suicide. Okay, well, let's talk about that. That's science. And unacceptance. That's not a metric. It's like, let's talk about the rate of average income, okay, of average degrees or average levels of education, yes, and what people's broken dreams are. You can't put them in the same thing. Or how? It'd be like saying, hey, this mug is it fits 16 ounces. Great, that can fit an entire beer, which tends to be 12 fluid ounces. Yes. Also, how much do you personally enjoy the flavor in that mug on a scale from 1 to 10? The answer for Mug Club is always 10.
It's always 10.
12.
But the point is, they're taking two things that are scientifically observable, that have metrics. You can look at depression, you can look at suicide, and you know what? By the way, before we get to unacceptance, let's look at that. 98% of confused boys and 88% of confused girls eventually accept their gender after puberty. That's something the left doesn't want to talk about. Let's talk about the suicide rates. 30% of transgender youth report at least one suicide attempt. 42% report in self-injury. As they get older, 41% attempted suicide rate. It's at least that high even after the sex hormone replacement therapy, even after the sex change, if they go through with it, when most transgenders don't. So what we're talking about, if we want to talk about unacceptance, we want to talk about othering, we want to talk about helping kids, how about actually getting them the help that they need? Because statistically, if you look at the science, by the way, gender has no basis in biology whatsoever, as seen by Chris Cuomo trying to go from science to acceptance to balls on your face to my Twitter feed. He has no argument. He has no leg to stand on, so we go to this idea of acceptance as though that's ultimately the most important value, as though it's somehow virtuous to accept everything, regardless of the outcome, when we know that you are putting these kids, particularly men, when you are giving them estrogen, or if you're giving women unnatural levels of testosterone, you could be putting them into a very shallow, cancerous grave brought on by early suicide. These people need help. Any way you look at it, the transgender community is not mentally healthy. I'm not saying that it's necessarily a mental illness, but if you care about the group, let's actually try to get to a solution instead of, as you guys hate with Big Pharma, throwing drugs, throwing hormones at it, and talking about balls on the face. But instead, we can't talk about science, right? Because it's about accommodation. Apparently, Chris Cuomo skipped that science class. Hey, if you like this clip, you're like most of the internet. You have a short attention span, but it was taken from the full show. You can see it in a box playing next to me. That's once a week on Thursdays, full 1.5 hour show, or you can join the Mug Club for the daily show. We have to take some of that off YouTube because they're monitoring us.
I know, the video clip was kind of lengthy, but I kind of had to let Steven talk his points, kind of do the talking for me. I didn't want to try to break it down at every second. But I'm just gonna quickly summarize it, as fast as I can. Like Steven says, they try to say men and women are one and the same. That you must accept everything that the trans community says that they are. Like you're just wrong if you disagree with them. Chris Cuomo shows some false dichotomy by saying that you're a horrible person for not accepting this. He uses glittering generalities, trying to create sympathy for trans people by using words that are just that just create emotion. It's oh, I feel bad. Oh, I just can't say no to that premise. Oh my God, I'm such a horrible person if I disagree. He uses name calling, which again, he says you're a bigot if you don't agree. He's basically saying you're a bigot if you don't agree. And a bunch of rhetorical questions, like a ton of them, that is supposed to try to box you into a circle, try to corner you, saying, oh yeah, trying to get you to say, see, now you're an awful person if you don't agree with this. Though of course the guy barely even gets to answer in the whole video, but that's beside the point. Which brings us to 4 propaganda techniques in this video. 4 of them. 4. We got 4, we got 6, we got 2 from Twitter posts, and then we got 1 from the first one from 2010. You see how far, see how crazy they are? But ultimately, propaganda is the Clinton News Network's middle name. With ease, I was able to find propaganda, except for the first one. They don't make their clip, the clips that I've shown you guys they obviously don't make sense. Like I already just broke it down how much they don't make sense. I could go into more detail, but you know, this video is getting kind of long. And they're just simply just not trustworthy. That's why they get the name fake news. That's why they're often called fake news. It's also been, like, you know, like popularized by, you know, Donald Trump, you know, the main man Donald Trump. But, you know, everyone sees it. Now they're looking at it, you know, through skeptical eyes. And they're just like, nah, you guys are fake. You guys suck. And it's like, you guys make no sense. You know, sometimes, like, watching these, like, CNN news forecasts, like, it's like watching a commercial from North Korea. It's, like, heavily biased. It's clearly propaganda. Like, they're trying to, like, push a simple narrative instead of in 2010 where they would just ask a question and then maybe provide some anecdotal evidence. Like, when the woman was like, oh, yeah, you know, my son, you know, personalized instances, not, like, trying to push a political agenda. Like, you can clearly see there's a political agenda to it. But, you know, I chose specifically this company, quote unquote, like, company, this news channel, fake news channel, because it was just so easy to find propaganda, except for the first one. But it was pretty easy, honestly, and I, like, was able to debunk and like explain why they were wrong in the process. Anyway, guys, drop a like, comment, and subscribe for more content. This is by your boy Nivui signing out. Peace.